Can't be throwing off those cuts, you know?
Oh, man. Oh, here we go. Bring the energy. Bring the action.
Where am I supposed to look?
Like, kind of like this.
Okay.
Like a slight turn. There you go. Looks like just, two buddies hanging out. Kind of look to the right. Look to your left.
Trying to make sure that we're going to be locked in for this $50 bet here.
Ooh, this might be tough. It might just be a viewing party with the boys here on the third quarter.
Yeah, it might be.
Commercial break in progress. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey-o! Welcome back to the Cabbage. I'm your boy, Tommy Swain. To my right, or your left, Andrew Witt.
Hey, what up?
We're back. We have a new angle here for you folks on Instagram. I hope you like it. We're going more direct here.
We're gonna check it out here. You know, we gotta shake it up, do something new here.
Shaking it up. It's one of the themes of the week for me has been switching it up and like trying new things.
I love it.
You feel like
what else have you been kind of switching up a little bit?
Just like these daily goals I have each week, I write something new down. So it's trying to like try something new in my process to figure out if it's more efficient or not. Just like things like that. And also my sales job, you constantly have to try something new. There's never just like resting on your laurels. At least in the type of sales job I'm in, it's so hard to.
You pulling up resting on your laurels. What the heck is that?
Yeah, it's just like resting on your like
your consistency.
Yeah, like you're
like
just
your same old.
Yeah,
you're not gonna walk up to the girl at the bar and say the same pickup line
and have it work
miserably.
every time. Yeah, you know, like it might work one time, and then the next 5 times it never works. But for me, it never worked at the bar.
What's the remember the League?
Yeah, I do remember the show.
And Andre. What a great show, by the way.
That was one of your favorites.
Yeah, you know, that one, we could take a little quick trip down memory lane. We would go and watch the League. I believe it was on, like, Wednesdays or Thursdays. And we'd have it, like, recorded. We'd, like, rush home back to your, like, mom's place, watch the League, eat, like, Sour Patch Kids and, like, sunflower seeds. And maybe a Smuckers, and then go play volleyball.
Oh, man. Then go play volleyball was so great.
It's so good.
I would win pretty easily, too.
But it was like that Andre scene where he's, like, picking up the girls, like, at the bar, where he's, like, doing, like, the, oh, honey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, all that's, like, you poor, poor girl, and, like, those pickup lines. I get it. You got to shake it up a little bit.
Have you ever heard
you can't, like, send the same email over and over again at work.
Have you ever heard of negging?
Yeah, the neg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also in there, too.
Yeah. I couldn't even try to do that, to be honest, to somebody, like, on purpose.
It wouldn't look good on you.
No.
It would look bad.
It would not look good on me. I don't know how to do that.
You trying to, like, disrespect someone is just outlandish for you in the first place, and then doing it to go and pick up someone, or, like, doing it, like, in a semi-joking fashion.
I feel like I would go too harsh.
It would come across.
I would come too deep.
Yeah, maybe the delivery might not quite be there.
Yeah. I'd be like, huh? Right?
It's
you
like,
are fat, though. It'd be like, what?
You know what you could do? You're pretty good at negging yourself, though.
Oh, I'm great at negging
So then you
myself.
could do a little banter back and forth. Maybe that's how you play it.
There you go. With my wife, go around just insulting her all day. I'm trying this new thing to pick up my wife. I'm negging her.
So far, not going so hot.
So far, not so great.
Boys in the dog cage right now.
Yeah. Just go around just insulting your wife.
Yeah.
Like, God, do you know how to pick up anything correctly? So when we hanging out later.
Look, this was your choice. You chose me.
Right. I always say that to her when I'm going crazy, or I drop a bunch of things, or I break something by accident.
Yeah.
I'm like, you chose to date someone who's 6'5" and clumsy. That was on you.
Right.
Yeah. You know. Like
I saw this one post on Instagram, and it like cut to the core, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. And it was this one post where it was like, you can't get mad at your partner's decisions ever, because she chose you as a partner, or that's not believing in yourself or whatever. And
I like got you.
I'm like, whoa,
got
okay.
you like 1 a.m. in a
right.
circle, and you're like, okay, I guess you got
true.
me there.
That's true to a point. I gotta always see the other side of it.
Right.
Maybe I might think it's a little outlandish. Sure. Always gotta see the other side of it.
I think that's like another thing I've been trying to do more too, for sure. It's just like when we're in something, I'm trying my best not to be so stubborn. Because I always think I'm right. I mean, I'm never in an argument coming from a place I'm wrong.
Right, your boy's ready to back down.
Right. I'm always coming from a place of I'm right and you're right, so let's try to find the middle ground. But, like, you know, I'm, like, kind of, like, trying to find a middle ground. So I just been trying to understand.
Just be lazier. Just
Yeah.
agree with the other side.
I get that. And, you know, like, you're right. Because there's just, I've been trying to be better at choosing my battles, I think is what I'm trying to say, too. Like, choosing what I should care about in that moment. And when you're triggered, everything matters. When you're already having a bad day and, like, something, you know, one person says to you, like, matters a lot more. So I always try to take it in my, like, headspace. Like, do I really care about this? You know, like, is it worth me bringing it up? You know, most of the time it's not. You know, and you just got to learn how to roll with those punches, which is, you know, can be tough.
It's a good side. It's a good way of listening and just trying to see the other side, too.
Totally. But my weekend was overall pretty boring. We didn't do very much. Just watched a bunch of football. And we watched a lot of the Eagles doing the Tush Push or the brotherly shove.
Yeah. I mean, what great names right there.
Great names. Hot topic right now for it would be, do you think the play should be under review and banned? Where do you stand on this?
I think it's a great play, and I don't think it should be banned. I'll just come out right away and say it. And my reasoning behind it is pretty simple, is that there's nowhere in the rule book that you said that you can't do that. So let's say that there's a running back running downfield, and he gets lit up and is stood up by the linebacker in the hole, or let's call it 3 yards down the line of scrimmage. Does that mean you're outlawing offensive linemen pushing the running back downfield? Because you'd have to go into it at that certain extent. Right,
because now the pushing thing, I don't know if it was that way for professional, but in college, you couldn't push the quarterback, couldn't push the running back, and it actually, like, was a huge controversy. USC did it a while back, and, like, that was a push. You can't push him.
I didn't know that.
So has it always been you been able to push people in the pros?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I remember, I'm not obviously, like, any rules specialist, but from what I can remember, yeah, it's always been legal.
Yeah, because back in the day in college, it wasn't. So, yeah, I personally think it's totally fine. And my reasoning behind it is a little different than yours. They're 93% successful, and the rest of the league is 80-something. Like, that means they're just not as good as this other team is. And that's not their fault for being better at a play. It'd be like telling, like, the Miami Dolphins they got to stop running, like, slant routes.
Right.
So that works 85% of the time for you guys with Tyreek Hill.
You can't run more than 21.5 miles an hour on the field.
Because no one else. That's not, like, I get it. It's like a cheap play.
But it's play to your strengths.
Yeah, figure out how to beat it.
Right.
Go sign a big fat man, like a 400-pound dude, to play the Eagles and just clog the hole with them on the 4th and ones.
Sure.
You know they know 92% of the time they're gonna quarterback sneak a big old fat nose guard right in front of them.
You get a Vince Wilfork.
Yeah,
big dog,
that's what I'm saying. We need a big dog to get in there and light some of these dudes up. And I know it's kind of unfair because their quarterback, like, squats 400 pounds.
Right. But again, to your point, you still need to have the personnel to do it. You still need to have a really athletic running back and fullback and a quarterback that also can, like, squat 600-plus pounds.
Right.
And a really in-tune offensive line. Their offensive line doesn't get enough credit. Well, I take that back. It's been getting more credit this year, actually, and people are talking about the offensive lines more than ever, which is fantastic. I love that. I think that's more because of the whole Jason Kelce being such a big story.
Yeah.
But you still got to have the personnel to actually pull off that play. So
right. Jason Kelce is, like, one of the best centers of all time.
Yeah.
He's arguably getting up there and just understands it perfectly and how to do it. And he's an extremely, extremely fast snapper of the football.
Mm-hmm.
He really gets that thing back there quick. So he usually can get the first step, and I don't think it's unfair. And if you want to stop him, don't let him get on the 1 yard line.
There you go. Stop him before that.
Yeah, stop him before the 1 yard line.
Sure.
I don't know. It just seems like it's a ridiculous ask to cancel a play, and like
Now,
just
if you
to
want
stop somebody,
yeah, I agree. Now, if you want to cancel or forbid those actions because of health reasons, people
Right.
are getting injured, that's a whole different story. Now we can obviously, because the NFL, the whole script for the last 5 to 6 years is about looking out for the betterment of the players and the health and this and that. There also couldn't be any more injuries, I feel like. It's just
riddled with injuries this year.
And it, you know what? And they're doing everything they possibly can, and that's great, and I get that. You know, there's going to be drawbacks on concussions versus blown out knees. People, I feel like, are getting a little bit maybe less concussions because they're leading less with the crown, but they're also going lower.
Right.
So that's why there's more knee injuries. And so it's kind of like the same thing. I feel like you're going to have some sort of drawback. And if you want to outlaw it because of injuries, totally fine. People are going to find another cheat code play elsewhere.
And you don't think that the Eagles will be pretty successful them just handing the ball off as well? And just knowing some short fielded fullback thing. They're going to do that they're going to do it well, maybe not as well as 97%, but it's still going to be an 80, 85, 87% play from them just handing it off.
Totally.
Or I don't know. It just seems very strange to me that you would.
It seems like a cry
to that place.
Yeah, it seems like a cry for help.
And
it's I can't figure it out. This should just be banned.
It's not football. It's rugby. It's well, then you got outlaw Australian punters too, because they're all on.
Dude, they are making a tear.
They are
through
the
college scene right now.
And there's a couple pro punters who are just hitting balls unreal right now.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
It's just because they're used to drop kicking for I forget what it's the Australian Football League they call it, where they essentially just punt and chase after the ball the whole time. Punt and chase, punt and chase. It's what every player does. And so they all drop it like a punt, and they all try to have it land on the flat side of the ball, and they just do it their whole childhood. They just punt balls. So no wonder they're really good at it. Something we wanted to talk about that we didn't bring up last podcast was injuries in football and the increasing of them.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit, and then we took a little detour with the Aaron Rodgers route.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I just feel you mentioned it, and I feel like we maybe harp on it again.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
I just feel like injuries are doubled, tripled, and I don't understand if it's because the way people are tackling one now. For sure, they're not headhunting anymore, and that was the big hit you wanted to lay on somebody was hitting them, near the head and taking them out, hitting them on the upper body and just fully leveling them was a huge deal. And obviously, concussions are way worse than what we ever imagined back then, so we can't do that anymore. I think you'd rather tear every ligament in your knee than have a really, really bad concussion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would hate to have either of those things.
Right, but if you're talking you had continuous knee injuries, you would rather take that over than
I'm losing my mental health.
Than continuous concussions.
Yeah.
You can right now the way kind of brought up the Aaron Rodgers thing, the medicine right now is so good that no doubt people are going to come back from that rather than a really bad concussion could put you out.
It really could. Yeah, I think a lot of it was when some of the athletes over the last 5 to 10 years have been committing suicide, or have been very open, about just they would get a concussion, they would go back in the game because there was no sort of
awareness of it.
Yeah, there was no awareness and restriction.
You just got your bell rung was a lot of it. Also have
people would laugh at it in high school and stuff like that. I just remember going through high school and comparing nicks and cracks and stuff and scratches on your helmet,
right?
And being those are battle scars. I mean, we played low level high school football, but
right.
We would still get up about that because that's what everyone wanted to do. Obviously,
comparing, it's so funny that people used to do that.
Yeah,
Mark Martindale's helmet was effed up.
Yeah, it was just all gashed up, dude.
Oh my god, I remember Mark's helmet. I was like, dude, this is crazy looking. And you'd be like, they weren't great helmets either. They weren't full of pads or
no. They're nowhere near what the pros are wearing.
Yeah, they're okay helmets. Pros are basically running around with marshmallows on there, on the inside with like a hard shell.
He's still getting a ton of concussions.
They should wear those like helmet, like the hats over their helmets too.
I know they started wearing those in practice.
They should just wear them in the games.
I wonder how heavy those actually are and if they make that much of a difference.
Probably.
It obviously doesn't look great as a uniform, but if they're truly worried about like concussions and injuries, you should probably think about wearing those if it makes that much of a difference.
Totally. I feel like also the part of the injury thing is that people are just so much more athletic nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't think the human body can really keep up with what some of these athletes are doing.
I agree.
Like
I think
some
that's
of these
the case too.
Some of these dudes are just like you physically shouldn't be that big and running this fast.
Exactly.
Like an ACL isn't like that much different compared to a lot of people. Like my ACL compared to your ACL isn't like a significant enough difference.
Yeah, it's the same.
For you to be like, you can support that weight. Like it just doesn't make sense to me when there's guys like me who weigh my current weight in muscle and are running like 4.7s.
Yeah.
Like,
not a lot of linemen do that. A lot of linemen run 4.7s, 4.8s,
and they're my size,
5.0s, you know.
Maybe heavier than me. And
when I was my fastest, I ran like a 4.7.
That's flying.
It's pretty fast.
You're flying.
And then these dudes are 6'5", 310, running 4.8s, 4.9s. That's a big dog coming downhill, moving quick.
There's gonna be more injuries to your knees, your ankles. Like you are a stronger human being, but a tendon is only so strong. Your tendon compared to my tendon isn't like the strength of it isn't that much different.
And I don't know. Maybe it's we did maybe touch on the turf field versus grass. Maybe that is something that they can look at. I don't know. I think it just really is also just it's the lack of targeting in the game now, and where people are now hitting each other. So maybe there's less concussions, but they are hitting a little bit lower.
Yeah,
causing those injuries.
And the ACL injuries are just like candy. Just saw somebody else get carted off in the
And they're popping up all over the place. I feel like I can't watch a football game without seeing someone like
seriously injured,
carted off the field. Yeah,
and I don't remember it being that way when I was a kid. Do you? I remember like someone like really tearing the ACL and being like, "Oh, dude, it's over for them."
Yeah, I don't remember it happening that often, and so it's just kind of, I don't know. I think it's just something that is just changing a little bit, where like they're hitting lower. People were playing through concussions maybe when we were growing up, because I just certainly remember just there being less injuries and less injuries being talked about, and so maybe those injuries were probably just like concussions.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just didn't pay that much attention to it.
Yeah, because you're like, whatever, he'll be fine, because you're like, everything's fine at that age, and now you watch it and you're like, dude, this guy
is effed up.
Yeah.
I get tackled once like that, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'd be okay.
When one of those big dogs lay on your ankle, when your ankle's going one way and the other one's going the other way, and they lay on your ankle. They lay on your ankle so hard you have to like fall over with
twist backwards and do this weird contortionist move. Yeah.
Yeah, to try to save your ankle from being snapped under like a 320-pound lineman.
I just see like dudes like face mask getting hit, like in someone like they are ramming their face mask into the other dude's like hand because they're holding the football, and I'm like, dude, that looks painful.
Yeah, just that alone is tough.
Or someone steps on me in the pile.
Oh, and you just got bodies on you. You got like thousands of pounds on you.
I know. So I think it really just comes down to just, again, the speed. I think it's maybe the speed of play. Maybe it's the grass. Maybe it's the turf. Maybe it's the targeting versus lower hits. I think maybe it's a little combo of everything. But it does seem like it's more prevalent than ever before.
Yeah. And, something else that's really prevalent in the college football scene right now is flexing on people and the NIL deals that are getting passed around. Yeah. One thing I wanted your opinion on as well, because I found it weird, was Shador Sanders is wearing a Rolex or a watch, a really expensive one, decked out, and is flexing it at the ASU crowd. And just show after a squeak out win against not a great team, is just flexing the watch. I don't know what you think of that. It just wasn't I didn't love it. It makes sense because of who his dad is, Deion Sanders, like one of the flashiest NFL players of all time, but just not a great look.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the stuff that like
It's weird.
teams and people kind of bank on you doing to build some sort of rapport with to like beat you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's like that team is going to think about you all next year. The next team that plays you is going to show a video of you doing that. It's just adding fuel to the fire for other teams, I feel, but also kind of a cool flex.
It is a cool flex.
Now I don't know if he's wearing that watch during the game.
I don't think so. I think he threw that thing on and then
Went over there and flexed on him.
Yeah. Here's a stance. I don't think that you should be throwing around that kind of cash like that in that kind of way. It is a cool flex.
Right.
He's getting a ton of NIL money because we were talking about that last week. I think he's getting like $2.5 million this year or something like that, right?
Yeah, he's getting a lot of cash.
I just think it's a weird flex and a weird thing to do.
Yeah, it's like, you could have just gone over there and flexed on him that way, but to bring the watch, I mean, it's just the type of style it is now. Like, I don't have a problem with him doing it. The problem for me is, like, you're just adding more to the fire for other teams. Like, you're just, like what the great about the Patriots back in the day when Tom Brady and those guys were doing it, like, they gave nothing to the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
They gave them, like, no fuel to want to beat them more than they already had. And I think, over there in Colorado, they have plenty of reason for people to want to beat them. Adding fuel to the fire in that way isn't going to help anything. Because you need, like, they're not a stellar football team. They're a good football team. But they're going to need, like, that extra little oomph. And people playing harder against them is just going to be tougher for them,
Sure.
So,
and it's just also, I think it's weird too. Was also just like the opponent that they were playing, and it's like
not a great team.
And it's no disrespect to the
ASU crowd.
To the ASU crowd, because much love goes out to them. I know Uncle Bob over there,
big Uncle Bob.
The alumni over there playing a little tight end. But yeah, I just it's the fact of the matter is they're not that great, and they were a favorite, and for him to just like go in there and to just like flex a Rolex watch, let's call it,
right
in front of the crowd, I just think that's just kind of like a little bit of a low move in general. And like maybe look at it through like the player's eyes. Do you want people to perceive yourself as such?
Right. And
and that's not me. So it just comes across as very showboaty and braggy, right. But also just in the wrong context. Like, yeah, you have money. Like maybe that's dad's money.
Yeah.
If he didn't have an NIL like deal.
Right.
Like I just think that's a little strange.
It's just not your style to like
flex your football skills. Go celebrate with your teammates. Go crazy. Go do a little mocking dance in front of the crowd.
Yeah,
with your teammates.
The flexing of the money is just like also they're all college kids. Cause like in reality you're not like they're like cool dude like I mean it wasn't like you're flexing on a bunch of poor college like most of them are poor college kids.
Right. So maybe that's why he thinks it's a bigger flex.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was a little controversy. Maybe not a lot of people are talking about it, but I think it's very valid because when I saw that, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, it wasn't like the best thing, but one thing I wish maybe someone did differently, showed a little flex was Caleb Williams at the end of the USC game. Just a grind out game, and he looks like he's that guy. Caleb Williams just looks like he's playing a video game against a bunch of children out there
really
half the time.
This is actually probably the first year that I've gotten a little bit more into college football, as watching a wider variety of games and teams and following more prospects. I think one has to do with the dynasty team.
Oh, the dynasty team's great
because I'm actually way more interested in the top prospects in college, and now it gets me to actually watch some more of these college programs.
Right, because you can also kind of care, and the football is just a little bit more highlighty and fun.
It is.
More big plays, bigger breaks on defense, where NFL is just, people are just so locked in. There's checks on top of checks, and, these players have been in the program for 5 or 6 years, and they're already professionals, and they already understand the lingo. Because the lingo changes somewhat through each team, but it's mainly the way you call the play.
Mm-hmm.
But you understand the concept of what you're doing. So once you start picking up like the pro football level of talk for, that type of stuff, I feel like translating to a new locker room isn't as tough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, USC's squeaked it out against the Wildcats, a team they should have destroyed. But in classic USC fashion, there's always that one team that is ready to ruin our season. And it's always like Stanford is a big season ruiner for us. UCLA loves to stomp on our chances.
Utah sometimes.
Utah for sure. Those are the big ones. Arizona we usually handle. And, sometimes in the past we haven't, but this one I was a little scared for because this is right about where we start to take the foot off the gas a bit. And
it was a little scary because they had a chance to win it as well. Then they drop a touchdown pass, and then they also fumbled they snapped it. They snapped it super high.
I went to the bathroom, and it was like, okay, cool. We're gonna kick the field goal. We'll be winning the game, no problem. We're up
because it was a little chip shot. We were on the 2-yard line.
Right, we'd be up by
we'd be up by 3 with I think it was maybe 15 to 30 seconds left in the game.
It was whatever. It was GG at that point. And they whiff the snap. The guy drops it. We try to pooch kick it and just blow it. So that was fun to watch. And then overtime is a nail biter. USC squeaks out a touchdown the first OT. Arizona does 2-play on a bomb tutty. Mm-hmm. You're like, dude, that's not what you want to see.
Because the momentum was fully going to Arizona's side.
Right. And it's just the last thing you want to see is going to overtime on a play that you should have won already. You squeak out a touchdown in overtime. You're like, wow, we might just change the momentum. 2 plays in, they throw a bomb touchdown. You're like, dude, oh, no, here we go. Overtime number 2, USC, another touchdown thanks to Caleb Williams. I think it's 4th and 2 or something, 4th and 3.
Is that also when he did that scramble play?
Yeah, and it
then
had nothing. They rolled out.
Yeah, rolled out to his right.
Went for 2. Rollout went for 2. That's right. Rolled out to his right with 2 linemen. I hated the play call. And forced him on the right side of the field.
Mm-hmm.
And legitimately scores a touchdown.
A little shake and bake.
Out of nothing.
Right.
It seemed I'm like, dude, he's going to have to jump for the pylon if he wants a chance. Shakes the first defender. Freezes the second one. Dude has no clue what's happening. And just reaches over the pylon, touchdown like nothing ever happened.
It was a really cold touchdown. He didn't even get touched.
Right. And then we end up, then they end up scoring. We get the first, because by third overtime, it's just 2-point conversions back and forth. First one to make it. I
love that concept. It's fun.
I love it. I think it's great. And then we, get one, and they get stopped immediately. And it was just like, holy moly, that was
way too close for them. And going on your topic a little bit of how good Caleb Williams is, the dude can play. The dude can play. He's going to come in, and whatever team that he goes on, he's going to have no issue upgrading them to at least a 500 team. If he goes first, if he goes first overall.
I don't know if it's going to it's so hard because this is a great segue topic too. I don't know if his game translates to the pros.
He looks like Patrick Mahomes.
He looks like Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah. In my eyes when I watch him play.
Yeah, because you can never tell with a running quarterback. They're either going to be too runny and it's doesn't translate, or
he doesn't look to run though ever. He looks to always pass and then
take off if he needs to.
His pocket presence and maneuverability alone and shifting through the tight spaces and his ability to keep his eyes down the field and then make awkward body position throws is pretty spectacular. And you can't really teach that. You can practice it, but for someone to just break it out that naturally in a game, and he was doing this last year too, he just looks even more polished than last year.
Yeah, he looks more dialed in. It's just fun to watch another USC player act like that on the field. It's not the first time I've seen it happen. Matt Leinart was another huge one, and Reggie Bush was massive.
Yeah, Reggie was special, dude.
I mean, unreal. How many times he would just break tackles, kind of would revolutionize the running game in college, where he would like kind of do the Le'Veon Bell, slow down the offensive line side and kind of see a gap and just had that 3-4 step quickness, and they're out of there like nothing ever happened.
Or they won't even do that, and they'll just like, if he doesn't like what he sees, he'll just do a complete opposite end around and just outrun everyone.
Yeah, it was so much fun though.
So
Reggie
crazy.
would get the ball and you're like, dude, this guy is going to score every time he touched the ball. But talking about like how to predict if players are going to translate in the overall space. Sorry for the folks here on my brain freeze. We and Andrew have a sizable 3-team parlay going at NHL hockey, and Vegas just missed a wide open power.
Could not be any more wide open.
For the ice it for us, so that was tough to see. But to translate talent from the NBA to pro, they have a good idea. NFL to or college to NFL seems to be a hit and miss.
Sometimes.
It seems like baseball is very much hit and miss.
Yeah.
Football is very much hit and miss.
Because you can strike gold on a guy that's in the 5th round.
I mean, it could be. I mean, Brock Purdy's a perfect example of this. Last pick in the draft, and he looks like he could be.
He looks fantastic.
Top tier quarterback right now.
He's in the top 10 for sure, and there's no doubt about it. Yes, he's got a ton of playmakers. Yes, he's got Kyle Shanahan. But he's still got to make the reads and still got to make the throws.
And he throws it downfield often. But anyways, NHL, college hockey, overseas hockey, Canadian hockey, going to the NHL seems to have the most accuracy. And I really don't understand why, because Connor Bedard came out tonight, started for the Chicago Blackhawks, number 1 overall. People don't know who he is. He's supposed to be the next Wayne Gretzky. He's supposed to be the guy.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the next Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, Connor McDavid.
He's the next big thing.
Right.
And watching him start the first hockey game, you could tell like this guy can play. And it's his first game. He's super young. I just don't understand why NHL's so good at predicting talent. I think it's just because of all the other leagues they have, other professional leagues they can tell, and all the games, and like Canada hockey must be that good, where they're getting enough looks and talent and reps for them to be.
Here's the problem: is that I only watch NHL. That's one of the problems. I have no idea what else is going on.
Right, I don't know the youth leagues. I think it's like soccer. I think NHL is a lot like the hockey is a lot like soccer in that way, where they have a lot of off seasons and travel and other leagues and doing other things where they have a good assessment of talent.
Mm-hmm.
And hockey seems to get it right like
a lot.
Where like kids are like 23 years old and they're like their best player on their team right now. 25 years old.
Yeah.
And you have guys playing to like 35 playing hockey, 36 playing hockey.
Yeah, some of these guys turn pro and they're like 17, 18 years old. Connor Bedard's 18, right?
I think so. He's young. Like super young.
Yeah, I don't think he went to college. He just went straight into like the semi-professional league, played 1 year there, his 17, 18-year-old league, and then got drafted as an 18-year-old.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy the life you have to live and how talented you got to be right off the start. It's a combination of like being blessed, like the Lord just came down and blessed this person with the skill and knowledge of how to do it, but also it's the work.
Maybe it's much easier to put in the work in hockey. Just like it is basketball. You can do a lot of individual stuff. You can do a lot of individual passing and puck handling, deking, constant hand-eye.
Those fake like ice things I see.
It's hard to do that in football.
You can't do in football.
You need to have like a team. You need to have like a simulated like 7-on-7 mini offense.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have someone else to like throw you the ball so you can run routes. If you're a receiver, you have to have a good receiver to play cornerback. Like it's hard to just like work on things because you need another person and you need other people there.
Yeah, where you can really just work on. You can throw a football against a wall for a quarterback all day long, hit the X. But it
doesn't really matter that much because it has so much to do with the reads and moving in the pocket and understanding the game, what the defense is giving you.
Totally. It's it might be interesting to see how not AI but like the Oculus might play into football as a quarterback, because you might just be able to sit there and like just read defenses in live time in your own POV and be able to check receivers and stuff like that instead of watching film.
That's a good way of. I didn't even actually think about that.
Like if you were,
I bet you they're doing that now though.
There is like an Oculus football.
Yeah.
Very much like what I'm talking about. You're a quarterback, you can see the team and stuff like that, but it's not. Wait till it gets to a place where they can read your hand motion. You can start fake throwing passes. As an offensive lineman, you can maybe play as a certain person and practice that way. But yeah, football is hard. Like as an offensive lineman, how do you get reps?
Yeah, I think that's why it's so difficult. But it's also crazy too because these guys will play 4 years in college and they'll be 22 years old, and then they still get it wrong, which is crazy.
Right, like, oh, this guy's the guy, out of wherever.
And sure, yeah, maybe you have like a Victor Wembanyama, and like, yeah, this dude's an absolute phenom.
Yeah,
right. Like that's clear as day to see. But like any other first round picks in the NBA, they seem to always have a pretty good handle on them. Even when they're coming out of like high school or first year in college, where like the reps aren't even all there. They usually get it pretty right.
Yeah, I mean, basketball seemed like, because if you can see athletic ability, you're like, okay, well, basketball will come. If you can somewhat play, basketball will be there. Athletic ability is like pretty, Wembanyama is a perfect example of that. Like the guy has the tangibles, he can play ball, but he's also just an athletic freak.
Right.
But hockey, these guys aren't like athletic freaks. They're very athletic, don't get me wrong, but like it's just hard for me to see how like it translates so well. Because if they didn't look like they haven't gotten it wrong in the last couple of years, like with these players. But
yeah, a few years ago everyone was talking about Connor McDavid.
Right, that's all everyone could talk about. Skates like Connor McDavid, hands like this person. So NHL is in a good space right now. We're actually getting more into it. Just joined a hockey league ourselves.
I love it, and I'm instantly already more on board. And then you also kicked it off with a little bet for opening night as well. And so
yeah, we're getting real touchy go on this opening night right here.
You know what? I actually have been watching hockey the last 2 years.
Yeah, you have. You've been watching in the playoffs, trying to get me to watch it with you in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's legit. It's very, very refreshing, and I will say this because I know we're probably going to move on to something else, but while we're talking about hockey, and I'm loving that we're doing the Fantasy League, more eyes, I'm going to be tracking the games more, I'm going to get more familiar with the guys and players. But it's just
the storyline gets built for you a bit more in the professional.
Exactly. And like it's refreshing to see guys playing that hard. It's refreshing to see.
Yeah, like it feels like hockey is just gotten better offensively and is still very physical.
Totally.
Very hard nose. Like
people are still throwing hands all over the place. Fights are breaking out.
Like it feels like it's still a physical game, but there's just offense has just gotten so much better.
You rarely see a 2-1 now.
No, it's a lot of like 4-2s.
Yeah.
3-1s.
I've even seen teams throw up 7 goals in a game pretty consistently.
And that's like when it gets fun. Like just get the offense slightly better, which they're in a place like hockey's in a great spot right now. I really think they just got a brand new superstar on a major market. It's only going to help grow the game for them.
I think it's a great spot that he landed over in Chicago. It's a good spot for him.
Major market. City is like one of the greatest cities, and I personally haven't been there. I really want to go. Chicago is supposed to be
too. I do too.
Didn't you go to Chicago for?
Yeah, but it's like during winter time, bro.
Yeah, where it's just like
I'm like not really counting that.
Did you get like
I've gone twice to Chicago, and it is the windy city. It is cold
right
over there. I mean, you know me. I don't do well in the cold.
No,
It is not a place for me.
the boy does not do well over there,
Dude. I mean, it's snowing,
mm-hmm.
and like the wind chill is like down to 12 degrees. You're like, what is going on? How does anyone function in that city during
That's
the winter?
classic, dude.
And so I would love to go there in the springtime, so I'm actually able to you're actually able to go do things. Like, you can't go do anything. You just need to like always put chains in your car. You're like scared to drive anywhere just because we're a bunch of West Coast boys over here. We see a little snow, we start freaking out.
I mean, I'm not driving in the snow.
Yeah, it's scary.
I don't know how to drive in the snow.
I put chains on, bro, and I my car was slipping still.
Really?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Dude, it was not safe. Start kind of like hydroplaning. I'm like, what the fuck what's the point of these chains then? Why am I over there giving my like hands frostbite putting this shit on?
Oh.
And I'm still sliding all over the place.
Were you in the car with Katie at that point?
Yeah, it happened one time, and it really wasn't even that big of a deal because I was like on a side road, like, and they didn't have
Going
it
up the
paved.
mountains?
No. It was like
Okay.
it was in a neighborhood.
Okay.
So it wasn't like manicured or salted or whatever the hell they do.
Right. Throw a
But
bunch
still,
of water on it.
But still, I'm going like 10 miles an hour with chains on. I'm like, how the hell do I not have traction right now?
How do people do this type of vibe?
It's kind of crazy.
Totally.
But yeah, it seems like they got some great fans over in Chicago too, though.
Yeah, some people who really are going to get behind him, which would be great, and cheering him on, which is another little topic on mental for athletes. One of my favorite YouTube series called Fixing Frankie. It's about guy on foreplay golf. He's like a mental case in the in the golf space, has the yips with chipping, has an issue with like his mental side and positive self-talk, so he hired a mental coach to help teach him. I think we've talked about it before, but they came out with a new episode.
Mm-hmm.
And after the episode, the tips he gave were great. Some great putting tips that I tried because I felt like I was getting the yips a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped me out a lot. I only missed one really bad, close one that, I probably could have made, but didn't make it. But I was able to bounce back from it really quick, which was just stare at your line, draw a hold of the top of the ball, and pick a dimple and say make it.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the way he said
go.
it. It wasn't like make it. It wasn't like an inflection. It's just make it.
Yeah, it was a statement.
It wasn't like it
wasn't a hype up. It wasn't a this or that. It was literally just telling yourself that you're going to make it. Just make it.
Just make it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It really did help when I was a little nervous over it. I'm like, just make it, and just banged it into the back of the cup. And
it feels like it gives you a little bit more freedom. Right?
For sure. It frees you up. It helps. It's fake confidence because in reality, like, it's not that easy. But, it helps kind of trick your brain in that moment when there's no calm. And you're like, what about this? And I'm overeating a 4-footer and this and that. And you're not in it. Like, your brain's somewhere else and you have to step over the putt. It helps you like walk back in and just make it.
Sure. There's plenty of times where I'll stand over a 4-footer
mm-hmm.
and I don't know where it's going.
Right.
And I can't tell where it's breaking. I can't tell. And like, how much do I play inside or do I play edge of the cup? And like, at some point you just need to commit to a line.
If I'm that confused over it and it seems genuinely straight, I just say hit it. I'll be just hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Like put the ball end over end,
and put it a foot or foot and a half past.
Just try to and then say just hit it, and I get over the ball and make it.
Yeah.
And if you do that most of the time, it takes the breakout to a place where it's not. You're not going to snap huge off a hole off
mm-hmm.
a very hitting it a little harder.
Yeah,
but
I took away that nugget as well because I watched that video too. I was I thought the first two videos were great because that was when they were having their initial like prep and talk and all that kind of stuff.
This one was more about performance anxiety.
Yeah.
which I liked a lot because I've been having a little bit of that.
What else did you take? What else did you take from it?
Just like how it's impossible to have a good day every day. Like I shot, I was high, shot 78, 79, like an 80 something. I was just out of my mind playing really well, and then just expected that of me.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, I just had a lot of good days from practice, like leading up to it. Instead of just thinking like, my good round should be like I shot an 83. My okay round's like an 85. I didn't have my best day at 87 and 90s. Like I just couldn't hit the golf ball.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what course I play. So I was trying to lower my expectations.
They talked a lot about managing your expectations in that, actually.
Yeah, just like not coming out.
We've talked about that plenty of times on the podcast, actually, and so I thought it was pretty cool that it was we're not talking about just straight nonsense over here.
Yeah, like you just have to come in with the idea, knowing that you're just not going to have it all that day and understanding what that looks like, and I think that's a huge difference. I think if you watch those mental videos as an amateur golfer who can hit the golf ball, like you can go around and you can hit the golf ball, you shoot like a 101 or 102 pretty often, I feel like you would shave off 5 or 6 strokes easy from watching these videos.
Mm-hmm.
Just from the mental side of the game, my mental of the game has changed so much. Like, for example, over the weekend I went and played another tournament. It was a best ball tournament between me and my cousin. And my driver just left me. Like
Which is so strange for you.
Couldn't find the driver face, which, maybe it was the injury on my hand a bit, so I was trying to make up with other things. But gone. Like, I'm missing left, high and left, short and left, like duffing it almost.
Yeah, which is crazy for you because usually the driver is probably next to you, maybe your putter when you're rolling it well, the best club in your bag.
Yeah, I don't really miss by much, and if I can almost 95% of the time tell you my ball flight.
Mm-hmm.
And I know about how far I'm going to hit it. And I can almost sort of work out a draw if I absolutely need to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not great at it, but I can at least try to work one in there every once in a while. Normally I feel like my old self as a golfer would have been gone mentally. Like I would have been like, I suck at golf. This is all awful. Instead, I kind of just stay in my pocket and just mentally knew it was going to come back to me at some point, and just to go back to my swing thoughts and not
abandon ship.
Right, not code red, burn all the files.
You're right.
And sure as shit, like came right back to me after like 6-7 holes. I was able to find the driver again, and was able to help us out on the back nine and put us at a 79 for the day, which was great. But
it's good. It's a good round for you too.
Yeah, a great round for us.
Mm-hmm.
We never get close like that with a best ball. Mikey had a great stretch of holes that really helped us out when I was going like double, bogey, double, or whatever. When the driver was gone, I couldn't hit anything. But another thing my mental couldn't take was one of the people we were playing against in our foursome. A new partner. I'm not going to use his name. We're just going to call him Bill. So Bill,
all right, Bill, what you got?
Bill used to play with my cousin and my uncle back in the day a lot before I joined the club.
Okay.
He was a fun guy to play with. A little bit of a loose cannon on the course.
Okay.
Likes to have himself a 2-3 pops for sure. And
2-3 pops, like shots of alcohol?
Yeah, I mean lots. I'm just like, just underselling it. Dude's a drinker.
Okay, got it.
Dude loves to have some. Like ran the cart into a fence, bent the fence one time. Guy likes to party.
Wait, whoa. What?
Yeah, this guy is a loose cannon. And
Jesus Christ, that's
my uncle's normal playing partner is gone.
Okay.
He has a hurt back. We don't know if he'll ever return. So he had to pick up,
like
Bob. And me and him, we have had very few interactions with each other, and I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all.
Yeah. It's kind of tough to be paired up with someone like that when you're playing like semi-competitive golf and like the vibe is totally in the wrong and different.
Yeah, it's just not my normal group that we usually have, not the normal banter. The vibes are off, and him and I, you can tell there's friction there.
Okay. So you guys kind of get into it a little bit?
A little bit.
Okay.
Interesting. I'm trying to, maybe it's my self-judgment of him, and, I might have caused some of this issue for being too judgmental on my part, but he's a bit of a mooch, too. A little bit of a broke boy, which is totally fine, but he'll, if you're getting a drink, he'll be like, oh, get me one. And then you'd be like, what? Or he'll, the bartender's pouring a drink ready, and he'll walk up and be like, all right, one for me, too.
That's just such a weird
And the
way.
bartender's done it, known the guy for doing it so many times. I'll ring you up after this.
Really?
So he's known for doing stuff like this
Damn.
as well. And so I'm not playing great, and he likes to talk. And, it's not so tight where people don't talk in your backswing. People do. It's not loud, but there's whispers going on. People try their best not to talk close to you in their backswing. That there's it's normally good about it. He doesn't get that. If he's not near you, you can hear him behind you. He's fucking with the cart. He's, making noise. So 3 holes in a row, he talked in my backswing or did something in my backswing. First one said something, pissed me off. Second one, he did something, pissed me off. The third one really got to me. He was walking away. I'm putting for bogey. It doesn't matter. Mikey's already in for par. I'm just trying to do it for my mental to get in the hole.
Yeah. Get the rep in.
He makes a loud noise as he's walking away. Basically screams, essentially. And I whiff the putt. And I'm like, oh, it's not what I wanted. I'm not already playing great. And I just wanted to see that ball drop just for my own scorecard.
Also, if he's just yelling at nothing, what the hell?
Right. So I kind of let it go. And he also is talking to my golf ball every time I'm hitting it or putting it. It's like, oh, that's a great putt. That's in. And then it goes 5-6 feet past. If I'm not a huge fan of you, I don't want you talking to my golf ball.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, because I don't know why that bugs me, but I hate it. I hate it because it gives me false hope of what just happened, and you're kind of making me ride this emotional roller coaster. I'm like, oh, that was such a great putt. I got robbed. Instead of my head, I knew it wasn't that great of a putt. But anyway, so next hole, he's putting for birdie. He's lining it up. Mikey's also putting for birdie. He's lining it up.
Okay.
They're kind of in the same area.
Good looks?
Yeah, both far chances,
15, 20 feet.
He's 15, 16 feet. Mikey's 13, 12.
Oh, good looks.
Mikey's staying on the wrong side of the ball. He's standing nowhere near behind this guy. They're very similar lines. And he's lining his putt up. He's not hitting it yet. I go, Mike, come over here real quick. And Blue looks at me and he goes, oh, talking in my birdie putt, huh?
Oh, my God. He's not even standing over it?
Not even lining it up. Not putting it yet.
This guy is just outrageous.
Outrageous.
He's got no regard.
Outrageous.
Where is the awareness? That's a big bugaboo for me.
Right. And I don't know if I say something immediately.
You might.
Or I say something after.
Okay.
I think I say something after.
Mm-hmm.
He misses the putt. He says something to me again. I don't really remember what. And I go Blue. Oh, damn. Bob. That's good. No one's going to listen to this anyway. So fuck you anyways. Bob.
Well, you were just saying a random color. So.
Right. And I'm not saying anything crazy. Bob, you've been talking nonstop in my backswing and everybody else's. Truthfully, you haven't shut up about it.
Is that what you laid into him?
Yeah. Truthfully, you haven't shut up once since I've been playing. You've talked in 3 or 4 of my backswings. And he's like, well, truthfully, if I didn't know that. I'm like, well, clearly you didn't know it because you continue to do it.
Right.
And you weren't even lined the putt up yet. You weren't even putting yet. And I don't know what your issue is. And we walk away, and he's like, well, I guess I shouldn't talk in your bogey putts while, I putt for birdie.
Oh, so he did know what was going on.
So,
then he does know.
So he says something.
Jesus Christ.
He says something I just kind of wave it off. And I just, at that point, it was F you mode. I didn't really talk to him. I was trying to be cordial, which was fine. But the vibes were off right when I did that. Like, immediately put him in a really bad mood because I called him out.
The dick had it coming.
And he was playing unreal, and his game went south. As soon as I said something, he started playing so bad. And
I never wish for anything bad to happen to anyone, but when someone is being blatantly that rude and unaware and just being, quite frankly, just a dick, like all cards are now off the table.
I don't think he was expecting me to say something to him. Right, but like at the end of the day, like I just don't give a shit.
Right.
Like
you're not gonna interact with him very much anymore.
No, I'm getting to this age now where like people are kind of being dicks to me.
What happens when we get older?
I kind of have no problem throwing it back a bit, just because you realize at the end of the day, like these people that you are dicks to like that, like they're being rude to you, they're trying to take something or hurt you. Like being a little like standing up for yourself and saying something back, like appeases the thoughts I have later.
Sure.
Like if I go home and that happened to me, I'm like, I'll have like a self-argument about 10 times over in my head.
And you're never going to forgive yourself as well because you didn't say anything.
Right. And then it's like, well, I can't let people just do that to me. Yada, yada, yada.
Sure.
And by hole 17, my uncle and Bob have a huge fight.
Because they're riding in the cart together.
They're riding in the cart together. My uncle just made a birdie putt for the program and no celebration at all coming from the camp.
Wow.
No like high fives, and I know there's friction in that cart, and I am playing into it.
Oh no, buddy!
I know there's
that. I'd feel weird, but I love hearing about this later.
I'm like, I'm like really hyping my partner up. I'm getting the team going. Like I'm like, hey, you know what? I played bad there. What apart from my partner. Clapping it up on the putting green, you know, I'm just all time just in this guy's grill, and he is blatantly cheating too.
No, he's not.
Blatantly cheating, and I caught him 2 or 3 times. My uncle caught him 2 or 3 times, like coming up and being like, "Oh, we're playing best ball," and he shot like a bogey on something or a double. And he went, I got a bogey there. When it doesn't even matter to lie or cheat, because like putting a double,
because your uncle's already in for par.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
So technically, like you're lying for no reason and you're hurting yourself. Because if you would just giving yourself a double, you're technically padding your handicap, which is true.
Sure.
And so you're like lying as an idiot. You're like, oh, bogey for me.
And also, why would you lie in an instance to not give you an edge? Wouldn't you lie to give yourself an edge?
That's like I'm like this guy's a fucking idiot. Yeah, he like ends up putting one in the water, duffing it, chipping it short, missing a putt, and making a putt, and everyone clearly it was a 5. And caught him on that. Walked up, ball was near the water. He picks it up and puts it on a second shelf on a clean spot, not in the water. Ask him if it's in the water, because if it was in the water and he dropped one, he could put it where he wants. He's like, no, it was safe. I'm like, okay, so you just move the ball near the green. Like not like, oh, I'm on a route back here off the fairway, you know, on the other side of the course. He's like right next to the green.
Right.
Didn't play his own ball. We caught him using my cousin's ball in the hole.
Oh my God.
Like, dude's just
He's wildin'.
And I was like wondering if there's worse things in golf than being paired with somebody that you just don't vibe with in the golf realm, because it's just so hard to.
Yeah, there's so much downtime and interaction.
Right, and you need that, like, you need those vibes around you to be good, and the people around you need to have fun.
You're hanging out with
people.
buddies. You're doing a very laid back activity, but in this sense, it's semi-competitive.
Right,
so
which
it even more exacerbates it. I agree with you.
There's really nothing worse, but
yeah. You know what was really funny and what kind of stirred up a little quick memory was when you were talking about, you know what, just I need to throw it back at people a little bit more often. And you know what one of the coolest things that I saw when we were playing over at Costa Mesa semi-recently was when Cameron fired back at the dudes that were hitting golf balls into us on the par 3.
because I would have never done anything like that. and Cameron said something, and I was like,
and I don't remember the exact verbiage that he was throwing out there.
It was like, you can easily you gotta wait for us to get off the hole. And they're like, oh, we didn't know. He's like,
bullshit. We're standing right on the green. How come you didn't know? You're blind.
Right.
Are you telling me you're blind? It's something very offensive. And
right. And the guy
shut
up quick.
And the other dude's like, oh, sorry. And he's like, no, you're not. You just hit a ball right at us.
Right. And it's not like we're waiting on everybody too. So it wasn't like we were just sitting there with 1,000 holes open in front of us.
Right.
And we were the last
We're
ones to
not
get
playing
through.
slow. The whole course is playing slow. And it's like, dude, you already waited 5 to 10 minutes on the tee box. You couldn't wait 15 more seconds for us to
pack it up,
get out of your firing range.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I love that.
And see, when he goes home, and I bet you most of the time he doesn't even worry about that. But if you're on the receiving end of that,
yeah,
you're
chalked.
You're chalked.
Oh yeah.
You're chalked for a while. There's times where I'll still think of things that I wish I would have said to somebody back in the day, and I didn't.
I really wish that we did a little bit more with the dude that was hitting golf balls into us at Miles Square that one time.
Yeah, I think
we almost, dude. You wanted to wait for him on the 18th tee.
Yeah.
And I said, no, buddy. We're getting out of here. We're not doing that right now.
Right. I just remember that dude we should have said something, but.
Well, you yelled back at him. I almost went to go hit his golf ball out of bounds.
I mean, he was just.
You stopped me. I was running right after it.
Yeah, the first time he hit us, you were.
Because we were standing in the middle of the fairway.
Right. And he was just like, you gotta hurry it up.
Yelling at us.
Like, bro.
You're playing so slow, blah, blah, blah. And I wish I either hit the golf ball back at him.
We were playing. The reason why maybe we didn't is because we were playing slightly slower.
We're still on pace for 4.5 hours, though, I remember.
Yeah, that is true. Because we did have some golfers with us who were kind of new.
And you know what, though? It's not like we were 2 holes behind. We were probably a shot behind.
Yeah.
A shot is because maybe we were looking for a golf ball. I don't remember the exact reasonings, but wish I threw it back at him a little bit more.
Oh,
because that dude was a dick.
Yeah, seems like we'll remember that, but he won't ever. I doubt he ever thinks about when he was a dick at Costa Mesa.
Nah, it's just who he is.
Right, or Miles Square is actually at. But awesome, buddy. I think that we touched on all the little topics here we want to talk about. I think now it's time for everybody's favorite segment called the Faders. Faders here. We're 0-3. We lost last week's bet, which was Washington to win and the under. And, of course, Washington lost.
I'm seeing a trend right now.
And it was the over.
Yeah. Seeing a trend here. Y'all are a 3-0. You're welcome.
Yeah, we're 0-3 over here.
Fade our picks.
The next game is going to be the Chiefs versus Broncos for Thursday night. Remember, we bet Thursday night for everybody else. We're personally betting everything else, but we're just going to give Thursday night picks for the people here. We're going to go with the first quarter over at 9.5 points. So they need to score 10 combined total points in the first quarter. And 2 touchdown throws from Russell Wilson. I think this actually has a good shot. Russell has thrown over 2 touchdowns every game.
Yeah,
or two besides
or more.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it against the Jets, which is arguably a better defense than the Chiefs. I would say so.
Yeah. As far as secondary goes, yeah.
And 9 points doesn't seem I feel like 1 touchdown and a field goal can easily happen in this game. Chiefs can get the ball first, quick touchdown. Broncos can squeak away with a field goal or give the ball back quickly. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
But you got anything for the people here, buddy? Besides how bad your back is and you need an MRI. And
yeah, well.
You're going to get that fixed at some point?
Yeah, we're going to get that fixed at some point. We got to I don't know what to do. I mean, I feel like my days are just numbered at this point.
I feel like once you get this MRI, and then you realize you have a slip disc, I don't know what comes next.
Yeah, maybe surgery, or they just go clip it off, or I don't know what they do. I go back and forth and think, if it's this bad, I hope something's wrong. If I go in there and they say nothing's wrong, I'm shitting bricks.
Yeah, then there's something scary going on.
And I'm like, what is happening then?
There's gonna be something wrong.
Yeah, you know what? We can talk about it another time, but I do want to talk about here that is it's a big game, and we got the Bolts coming up here against the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a big game. I think it's one of
It's
these.
huge.
I think it's one of these games where we have a great opportunity to take it to a good to great to bad team. They like the Cowboys really fluctuate, but overall the Cowboys have some talent. And if we can't get a W coming off a bye week so that we have 2 weeks to prepare, I think that doesn't really show
After
good.
the Cowboys had a really bad week.
And so they're probably going to look to bounce back.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get their best. I think Dak is going to like figure it out. The Chargers secondary is just sometimes in shambles. I mean, it's one of the worst in the NFL as you can come. But if we can't get a W against the Cowboys off a bye week,
The Cowgirls.
yeah, dude, it's. I think it's one of those like season deciding type games.
Wow.
I think
This is a big one.
if the
Nuts on the table type of
if
game.
I think being a Chargers fan here, if I think that we're gonna go far into the playoffs and have a successful season, I think you got to like put your nuts on the table in this game. I think it's one of those. I think that's one of those matchups.
You got to come up there, slap them things on the table, and look them in the eye. And Justin Herbert needs to play like Justin Herbert.
He's also got a little broken finger right now.
Yeah,
It's on his non-throwing hand.
I know.
He'll shake that off, dude.
He will.
But yeah, dude, I think it's. I also just hate the Cowboys. So
Yeah.
big game.
Big game for the
Love
boys.
it. So that's what I got for the people.
Awesome. Like, comment, subscribe.
You guys know the drill.
It's on all major platforms. In the Cabbage, Instagram, Twitter, soon to be YouTube.
It's coming, baby.
It's all gonna happen here. Shout out to Devin and Jake for helping us out with all of our graphics, and all their stuff is linked in our episode, so please check them out as well.
Can we give a little early shout out to Davey Baby?
Yes, Davis is building the website for us. He's the man. We're gonna be linking his Airbnb, the beautiful Palm Springs La Quinta area.
The Greens. It's called the Greens.
Ooh, love that. We're in the Cabbage. Just a reminder, keep swinging.